Hey, I never thought I'd end up posting here, but here I am, a 36-year-old guy trying to make sense of how the person I trusted most turned into a stranger. My wife, Sophie, and I have been married for 8 years. We met in college. She was studying art history and I was in architecture. We clicked instantly. She was that kind of woman who could light up a room with her laugh. It used to be my favorite sound. But over the last few months, something changed. Her laughter didn't feel the same anymore. It wasn't for me. It came from behind closed doors, muffled through her phone, followed by that sharp click of the screen locking. She started wearing perfume I'd never smelled before, musky, expensive, not her usual floral scent. When I asked about it, she smiled like she was humoring a child and said, "It's a client gift, babe. Don't get paranoid." That client became her favorite excuse. Late meetings, new projects, weekend networking events. I wanted to believe her. I told myself I was overthinking things because work had been stressful, because maybe I was just tired. But the more I tried to ignore it, the clearer the distance between us became. The texts that used to make her laugh now made her blush. The kisses she gave me started feeling like habit instead of love. And one night, when she smiled at her phone instead of me, I knew something was off. That was the moment I decided I had to find out the truth. So the night I finally decided to follow her wasn't planned, it just happened. Sophie said she was going out with Maya, her best friend, for dinner. But the way she said it, too casual, too rehearsed. She barely looked up from her phone while telling me. Normally, I wouldn't have questioned it, but that night something in me snapped. After she left, I sat on the couch, staring at the door for 15 minutes before grabbing my keys. My chest was tight, not from anger yet, but from this sick curiosity. Her car wasn't at the restaurant where Maya usually hung out. Instead, I tracked her through the Find My iPhone feature we both had, for emergencies. Her location showed up downtown, near an art gallery. The same gallery she'd mentioned a few weeks ago, talking about some talented new artist she'd been consulting for. When I got there, I parked across the street. Through the glass windows, I saw her, standing close to a tall guy in a paint-splattered shirt. He was laughing, leaning in, brushing a smudge of paint off her cheek. She smiled, that real, carefree smile I hadn't seen in months. Then she touched his collar, and he kissed her. It wasn't some drunken mistake. It wasn't just a moment. It was intimacy. Comfort. Like they'd done this before, many times. My hands shook so badly I almost dropped my phone. I took a photo, not out of revenge, but because I needed proof that I wasn't losing my mind. I watched for maybe a minute longer before driving away, numb. When she came home later that night, she smelled like red wine and lies. She kissed me softly, said, "It was such a fun night, Maya sends her love." I smiled. I bet she does. And that's when I knew, I wasn't done. I was going to confront her. But I wanted to see how far her lies would go first. The next morning, Sophie was humming in the kitchen, acting like everything was perfect. She made coffee, kissed my cheek, and asked if I could pick up some groceries later. It almost made me laugh, the audacity of it all. I watched her move around, pretending to be the same wife I married, and something in me snapped. I set my cup down and said, as calmly as I could, "How was Maya last night?" She froze for half a second, then smiled, too quickly. "Oh, you know Maya." She wouldn't stop talking about her breakup. We had wine, complained about men, the usual. I nodded. "That's funny," I said, because Maya posted an Instagram story from home last night. Watching Netflix. Alone. The color drained from her face. She stuttered, just for a moment, then recovered like a professional liar. She must have posted it later. We were together earlier, then she left, and I stayed out for a bit. "Why are you interrogating me, Daniel?" Her voice had that edge, defensive, almost offended. I took out my phone, pulled up the photo of her and the artist at the gallery. I slid it across the table. Her eyes went wide. She didn't speak for a full 10 seconds. Then she laughed, actually laughed. "Wow, you followed me? That's pathetic, Daniel. I can't believe how paranoid you've become." That hit me like a punch. No apology. No denial. Just turning it back on me. "Who is he?" I asked, my voice breaking. "Don't lie to me again." She sighed, rolled her eyes like I'd asked something inconvenient. "He's nobody, okay? Just an artist I've been helping." It was a stupid moment, and it meant nothing. "You're blowing this way out of proportion." But the tone, calm, rehearsed, hollow, told me it wasn't the first time. When I didn't respond, she walked away, muttering, "God, you're so dramatic." She slammed the bedroom door. And just like that, I realized, she wasn't sorry she cheated. She was sorry she got caught. The next few days were hell. Sophie acted like nothing had happened, like our confrontation was just some weird argument we'd had after a bad dream. She went to work, texted friends, laughed on the phone, and even asked me if I wanted to go out for brunch this weekend. I couldn't understand how she could look at me and pretend we were fine. Every time I saw her face, I remembered her with him, that easy smile, the way she touched his shirt like it belonged to her. I tried to talk again a few nights later. I told her we needed to discuss what happened, the truth, what it meant, if our marriage could even survive this. She didn't even look up from her phone. "Daniel, I told you already. It was just a kiss. You're obsessed. You're making a big deal out of nothing." "Nothing?" I snapped. "You kissed another man while I was at home waiting for you. You've been lying for months. How is that nothing?" She sighed like I was exhausting her. "You're twisting this into something it's not. I needed attention, okay? You've been distant. You're always working or tired. Maybe if you made me feel wanted, I wouldn't have looked elsewhere." That sentence, it burned. She wasn't even denying it anymore, she was blaming me. I remember just standing there, my chest tight, my throat dry. I wanted to scream, to break something, to make her understand what she'd done to me. But she just rolled her eyes, grabbed her purse, and said, "I'm going to Maya's. Don't wait up." And then she left. Again. That night, I sat on the couch staring at our wedding photo. Her hand in mine, both of us smiling like we'd never hurt each other. I didn't cry, I couldn't. It felt like the tears wouldn't do justice to how empty I was inside. That's when it hit me, I was living with a stranger who knew exactly how to twist the knife, and didn't care that she did. 2 days later, Sophie came home late again, hair tousled, perfume strong enough to choke the room. I was sitting at the table, lights off, just waiting. She flicked on the switch and jumped when she saw me. "Jesus, Daniel. You scared me. Why are you sitting in the dark like a creep?" I didn't answer right away. I just looked at her, at the lipstick slightly smudged, the collar of her blouse uneven. She looked guilty, but she still had that attitude, like she was untouchable. "Where were you?" I asked. "Out with Maya." "Don't." She froze. I could tell by the way her jaw tightened that she knew I wasn't bluffing this time. I stood up and placed my phone on the table. "Maya called me today. She wanted to know why you keep using her name as an excuse." Sophie's expression flickered, surprise, then annoyance. "So now you're calling my friends? Are you actually insane?" "No," I said quietly. "I'm a husband trying to understand why his wife is lying to his face every single night." She crossed her arms, smirked like this was a game. "You really want the truth? Fine. Yes, I've been seeing him. The artist. His name's Luca. He actually listens to me. He makes me feel alive, Daniel." When's the last time you even noticed me? I felt something in me shatter. So it's my fault you're cheating? Don't twist my words, she shot back. You stopped caring. I just filled the emptiness you created. The silence that followed was unbearable. I realized then, she didn't even love me anymore. Maybe she hadn't for a long time. I remember whispering, you could have just told me. And she said, without even blinking. And have you fall apart like this? No thanks. That was it. No apology. No regret. Just cruelty wrapped in confidence. She went to bed like it was any other night. I stayed in the kitchen till dawn, staring at the empty chair across from me, realizing that the woman I married had turned into someone who could destroy me, and sleep soundly afterward. After that night, I stopped asking questions, but I started paying attention. I needed to know how deep her lies went, if this Luca thing was just emotional or something far worse. Spoiler, it was worse. She started leaving her laptop open, maybe because she thought I'd given up. One morning, while she was in the shower, I saw a new email pop up on her screen. Subject line, last night was perfect red heart. My stomach dropped. I didn't even want to open it, but I did. It was from him. You looked stunning. I love how fearless you are. I can still taste the wine on your lips. And then her reply, sent at 3:14 a.m. You make me feel like I can breathe again. I hate sneaking around, but I can't leave him yet, he's too fragile. That line, he's too fragile, hit like a bullet. She was talking about me. Like I was some pitiful project she couldn't throw away just yet. I printed the emails. I took screenshots. Every word felt like another knife in the back, but I wanted the truth out in the open. That evening, I waited until she got home. She walked in, humming, scrolling through her phone, pretending life was normal. I dropped the printouts on the counter. What's this? She asked, frowning. You tell me, I said. She scanned the papers, her face hardening. You went through my private emails. That's a new low, Daniel. A new low. I laughed, bitterly. You've been sneaking around with him for months, and I'm the one crossing boundaries. She didn't even look guilty. Just cold. If you'd paid attention to me instead of your job, maybe I wouldn't have needed someone else. That was her defense. Not love. Not remorse. Just blame. I told her I wanted her out, tonight. She laughed, tossed the papers back at me, and said. You'll regret that. You're not built to be alone. And maybe she was right, I didn't feel built for it. But at that moment, I also knew I couldn't live one more day under the same roof as her. That night felt endless. She slammed doors, packed a bag, called me every name she could think of, pathetic, boring, insecure. It was like watching a stranger wearing my wife's face. I didn't say much. Just stood there, numb, as she threw her clothes into a suitcase. The woman who used to whisper I love you before falling asleep was now muttering. You made this happen. You pushed me away. When she finally stormed out, the silence that followed wasn't peaceful, it was deafening. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the indentation she'd left on the pillow, wondering how everything could collapse so fast. The next morning, I found a note on the kitchen counter. Just one line. Don't call me until you've learned how to treat a woman right. That broke something in me, not just because it was cruel, but because it showed she still believed her own lies. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't conflicted. She was proud. Days turned into weeks. She moved in with him, I found out through a mutual friend. They even posted pictures together online. Smiling. Carefree. Like I'd never existed. I tried to stay strong, but grief hit me in waves. Some mornings I woke up angry, others hollow. I'd replay everything in my head, the perfume, the lies, the way she said, you'll regret that. And yeah, maybe I did regret it, not losing her, but ever giving her the power to destroy me like that. I started therapy, something I never thought I'd do. My therapist said betrayal isn't just about losing trust, it's about losing the version of reality you believed in. That hit hard. Because the life I thought I had, it never really existed. Every photo, every "I love you," every plan for the future, it all felt staged now, part of her act to keep me from seeing what she'd become. But slowly, I started to breathe again. Started running, eating right, even sleeping better. It's strange how healing feels like learning how to live in your own skin again. And every time I think of her now, it's not love or anger that hits me first, it's disbelief. Disbelief that I once thought she was my forever. About 2 months after she left, just when I finally started to feel like a human again, she came back. Of course she did. It was a Thursday night. I was watching a game, eating takeout, minding my own business when I heard a knock at the door. I opened it, and there she was. Sophie. Same perfect hair, same calm expression, but with that fake vulnerability I used to fall for. "Hey," she said softly, "can we talk?" My first instinct was to slam the door, but curiosity, or maybe weakness, kept me standing there. "You have 5 minutes," I said. She stepped in like she still owned the place. Looked around, smiled faintly. "You've kept it clean," she said, as if she expected to be complimented for noticing. I crossed my arms. "Say what you came to say." She sighed, like I was being difficult. "I made a mistake," she said finally. "Luca isn't who I thought he was. He's impulsive, selfish. I thought he cared about me, but he just wanted attention. You, Daniel, you were steady. Safe. I missed that." I almost laughed. "You missed the man you cheated on. Don't make this harder than it has to be," she snapped. "I'm trying to be honest here. I needed to find myself, and I did. Now I know what I want." "Which is what?" I asked. She looked me dead in the eyes. "You. Us. Another chance. The audacity. The entitlement. The arrogance." I told her, "You didn't lose me because you made a mistake, Sophie. You lost me because you destroyed the version of me that could ever trust you again." She rolled her eyes. "So that's it? You're just going to throw everything away?" "You already did," I said. She stood there, arms crossed, silent. Then, right before walking out, she muttered, "You'll regret this. Nobody else will love you like I did." And for the first time, I smiled, genuinely. That's exactly what I'm counting on. She left without another word. That night, I deleted every photo of her from my phone. Every memory, every remnant of who she pretended to be. It didn't hurt anymore, it felt like cleaning a wound that was finally healing. After Sophie's little "I miss you" performance, something shifted in me. I didn't cry this time. I didn't pace the house or stare at the door waiting for her to come back. I just sat there and felt peace. For the first time in months, the silence didn't feel like punishment, it felt like freedom. I started rebuilding piece by piece. Got rid of her things. Repainted the bedroom. Even changed the curtains she'd picked out. Small things, but each one felt like reclaiming a piece of myself she'd taken. I started spending weekends hiking with some old college friends, grabbed beers after work instead of rushing home to her empty lies. One of my friends joked, "Man, you're glowing like you escaped prison." And honestly, that's exactly how it felt. The weirdest part was how my mind stopped looping her excuses. Before, I'd replay every word, "You're too distant, it meant nothing, you'll regret this." But now, they sounded like static. Just meaningless noise from someone who didn't deserve the power to hurt me anymore. A few weeks later, I ran into Maya, the real Maya, at a cafe. She looked awkward at first, then said quietly. I'm sorry for what she did to you. She's been telling people you were controlling. That's why she cheated. I laughed. Not bitterly, just tiredly. Of course she did. She can't stand being the villain in her own story. Maya nodded. She's been through 3 guys since Luca. None of them stick around. That hit me harder than I expected. Not because I felt sorry for her, but because it confirmed what I already knew. Sophie wasn't looking for love. She was looking for validation. And when that ran out, she moved on. Meanwhile, I was learning to sit with myself, no distractions, no lies, no pretending everything was okay. Just me. It's funny how healing doesn't happen all at once. Some mornings I still wake up expecting to hear her laugh from the kitchen. But then I remember what that laugh became, a mask. And now, when I hear silence instead, it doesn't scare me anymore. It reminds me I survived. It's been nearly a year since everything fell apart, or maybe I should say, since the truth finally surfaced. Funny how betrayal feels like the end when it's really just the beginning of who you become after it. When I look back now, I don't see Sophie as the woman who ruined my life. I see her as the final lesson I needed to learn, that love without respect is just manipulation dressed as affection. People always talk about the pain of betrayal, the anger, the sleepless nights, the replaying of every lie. But nobody tells you about the quiet strength that grows after. The moment you realize you can stand alone, eat dinner in silence, sleep in an empty bed, and still feel whole. That's the real healing. I don't hate her anymore. Hate keeps you tied to the person who hurt you. I'm free of that now. She tried reaching out again a few weeks ago, a text that said, "Hope you're doing okay. Miss your calm energy." I stared at it for a second, smiled, and deleted it without replying. I don't owe her words anymore. These days, I wake up early, go for runs, actually enjoy my coffee without feeling that constant anxiety in my chest. I've started painting again, something I gave up years ago because Sophie said it was a waste of time. Turns out, it's therapy with colors. If there's one thing I'd tell anyone reading this who's been betrayed, it's this: don't chase closure from the person who broke you. Their words will never heal you. They'll only reopen wounds. Closure comes when you realize you don't need them to explain why they did it, because it doesn't matter anymore. Sophie once said I wasn't built to be alone. She was right, I wasn't. But I learned to build myself stronger anyway. Now, when I turn off the lights at night, the silence doesn't whisper goodnight like betrayal anymore. It whispers freedom. And that, Reddit, is the sound I never want to lose again.